Welcome back to Movie Groove. It's what's on screen. You're here with Alister Lockhart, and sitting in the chair with me is the lovely Gavalanche.
Hello.
And as I said, you've been LLA. So you got to
Yes.
talk to Tom Cruise. What was he?
Tom is a great actor.
Yeah.
But off stage,
Yeah.
he's pounding me with that Scientology stuff. And I said, mate,
He actually came out with the Scientology
I
stuff
said,
out,
look,
yeah.
I failed science at high school, mate. So just can we stop right there? Why don't you be a historyologist or something, or a PEologist? Maybe we might get somewhere.
I'm guessing he broke the interview off right there.
Well, no, it kept going. Once I said pull my finger, that was it.
That was the
Well, I
wrong
did it
thing
for
to say.
him,
He doesn't like dad jokes. What can I say?
Yeah, so
He's a dad,
he's
sort
a
of.
dad. He's
Allegedly.
He's a father.
There
Hello, mother.
He has a child in custody.
Hello, father.
Heavy accent on the word custody there. But anyway, you're on Energy Groove Radio. We're transmitting live from the beautiful city of Sydney and all around the world. From the E3 party at the SAE, all the students are up in the hizzy tonight with their friends. They're eating pizza. They're drinking fizzy drink.
Hang on a second. Let me stop.
Yeah.
In the hizzy.
I'm sorry. Did I say that? Did I actually say that?
You said that out aloud.
That's. Oh, there's a cringe from the man over in
the schnizzle my
for shizzle my diggy. Yeah, that's embarrassing. Every now and again, I do that to torture my students. If they don't come to heel, then I start, throwing
back.
gang signs at them and saying things like West Side.
Yo.
And it's, please stop. We'll do anything.
I am down with that homeboy.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's really embarrassing to see a man as old as myself trying to get down with the kids by using words that weren't even fashionable in 1996.
Word.
Exactly, word. That was, I think that hit the lexicon around about the time of Lethal Weapon 3.
No, there was that great song, Word Up.
Yeah.
Everybody heard.
That might actually be longer. It might be longer than you realise.
That was in the late 80s.
Yeah, do you realise that Nirvana is now older than Led Zeppelin was when we first started listening to it in our late teens?
Hey man, you just blew my mind.
I know. Do you know that if they remade The Wonder Years today, it would be set in 1994?
That's right. Yes, we get that top fact. Yes.
Anyway,
that'd be cool, actually.
That was.
I asked my dad if I could go to a rave. Dad, I need money for supplies.
Yes, bad acid? Had I really taken a tab of bad acid? Kids don't do drugs.
That's right.
Anyway, we here at Movie Groove always like to start each and every show with entertainment and movie news from all around the galaxy. This is a little bit we call Episode 17, A News Hope. And in box office news... Ooh, hang on. There he is. Young women turned out in droves this weekend to see teen romance The Fault in Our Stars, which easily took the top spot with $48 million. And only a $12 million budget on that movie, leaving cinemas everywhere in need of reupholstering and a good steam clean.
That's 4 times. 4 times just 12 times 4.
Look at you doing maths.
I'm a mathologist. So forget Scientology. Mathology is what you want.
E-card reads good.
Ooh.
Meanwhile, Edge of Tomorrow was unable to convert strong reviews into money. Those reviews scared most moviegoers away by indicating the need for slightly more brain power than is required to warm the inside of your skull.
Huh?
The Fault in Our Stars opened noticeably higher than past romantic hits The Vow and Dear John, and with over 10 million copies in print, the novel, John Green's The Fault in Our Stars, is one of the most popular books in recent memory. Fans of the book were enamored with the movie's trailer, which appeared to accurately portray the story of 2 cancer-stricken teens falling in love. So, distributor 20th Century Fox targeted the coveted never had a boyfriend, so I'll settle for the guy who might die of A, cancer, B, televised slaughter, C, getting head torn off by a vampire/werewolf demographic. It's a really, really hot demographic, that one.
It's charging up the charge.
I just gave marketing experts everywhere a semi.
Doing.
I know that demographic, oh my god. The movie's audience was made up almost entirely of young women. According to Fox, it was 82% female and 79% under the age of 25. No shock there. They rushed out to see the movie on Thursday night and Friday, which resulted in an incredible $26.1 million haul on that one day. Unfortunately, business dropped off badly from there. 51% Friday to Saturday dip is one of the steepest ever. In other news, weekend sales of Ben & Jerry's ice cream and outsized sweatpants have surpassed the GDP of Finland. Again, the marketer saw that one coming too. So they do it like, I really ought to have bought shares in Ben & Jerry's. I can't believe I didn't see that one coming. In second place, I'm going to give this one a sting. Maleficent was in second place. It fell 51% to 34.3 million. That's a solid hold for a summer release. In comparison, Snow Wine in the Hut. Excuse me.
Snow Wine.
Snow Wine.
Stop. Oh, I hate it here. Get off me, grumpy. Snow Wingy.
Oh, the Queen doesn't like me.
Snow
I'm the
Wine
fairest in the land.
Wanted to go to work, and I said, ho, ho, ho.
Oh, dear.
That's quality, baby. All right, I'm out of here. See ya.
Yes. You do know all that joke about all the seven dwarfs are in the bath feeling happy, but then happy got out, so they all felt grumpy
Grumpy,
instead.
that's right. And then entered the dock.
So, The Huntsman dropped 59% on the same weekend back in 2012 after audience realised that boning her director didn't somehow teach Kristen Stewart how to act or even move her face. To date, Maleficent has earned $128.2 million and should close around $200. Edge of Tomorrow looks limp with $28.8 million. Wait a minute, I need my room shot for this. It's not the opening Tom was looking for. He's behind Matt Damon with Elysium. They have a cream for that now. And is positioned below John Carter. Is this getting old yet?
I'm out of here.
Okay.
Never to return.
Which is surely not what Warner Brothers was hoping for when mounting this mega-budget outing.
Don't do it.
It's also pinned beneath last year's Oblivion and failed to crack Del Toro's Pacific Rim, both of which also took a massive dump. The crowd's turned on me so soon. Right. That's no good at all. So
that's more like it. You're like school on Saturday. No class.
See, all the things that I just said are funny because we reckon Tom is really gay.
No, he's not. You can't say that. You can say
allegedly.
Come out of the closet.
I said allegedly. I'm going to hide under the allegedly blanket. Apparently, Tom Cruise is super gay for reals, allegedly. While critics have been praising the movie's originality, the marketing failed to convince audiences that it would be easy to follow while simultaneously Facebooking, texting, and inhaling 17 metric tons of salted cornstarch. Other moviegoers may have been turned away by the involvement of Tom Cruise, who once ruled the box office but is now widely regarded as a tiny sexually repressed narcissist who wants to be alien Jesus.
Kabang.
Well, you know, if you're going to dream big. Has Tom lost his edge? Oh.
Most appropriate. Actually, even the crickets are cricketing.
In markets outside the States... Shh, you crickets. Thank you. In markets outside the States, the film did a good deal better, opening to 25 mil in China, Tom's biggest ever opening there. Yeah, I bet. The film's international take putting it on track for 250 mil all up, which is good, I guess. And we're going to have a review of that movie later on in the show. X-Men Days of Future Past had another steep drop, falling 53%, and Seth MacFarlane's A Million Ways to Die in the West rounded out the top 5 with a paltry 7.3 million. That's down 56%, which is a horrible drop for a comedy. But unfortunately, no surprise, as the film, which had a promising marketing campaign, has failed to deliver and has been labelled a sloppy bore, an utter failure, a massive misfire, a trudge through the oversized ego of its creator, wholeheartedly narcissistic and relentlessly unfunny, featuring increasingly desperate stylings as a nerd-turned-bully and Sub-Zero leading man charisma at every turn.
You forgot
wait a minute, that's news of Tony Abbott's overseas trip, excuse me.
Oh, bang.
A Million Ways to Die in the West apparently isn't very good.
A steamy bowl of shite.
Apparently not very good, which is disappointing. I'm a fan of the man, but apparently he really didn't knock one out of the park or even, get one.
No, he's done good work in the past, but this one,
apparently just not all that great on screen. He wanted to be a movie star. He gave it a crack. Well done, you. Get behind the camera again. Anyway, right now we're going to have a track. No, it was Midnight Red with Hell Yeah.
I'm a red.
You certainly
Midnight
are,
Ranger.
you crazy soulless ranger.
There was that movie Midnight Cowboy, and I'm making the version Midnight Ranger.
Everybody's talking about you?
Everybody's trying to beat me up. I don't feel a fist they're throwing.
I'm gonna go to hell for this. I haven't seen that movie.
Straight to it. You have not seen Midnight Cowboy?
I have not seen Midnight Cowboy.
Hey, I'm walking here.
Yeah,
I'm walking here.
I know the premise bits.
That line was actually ad-libbed too, by the way.
Yes,
he just made
I
it
believe
up on the spot,
so.
because the cabbie just went, hey, I'm walking here.
Because your man Dustin Hoffman really knows how to ad-lib a classic line.
He does.
Anyway, welcome back to Movie Groove. It's what's on screen. We're on Energy Groove Radio. We're transmitting live from the beautiful city of Sydney and all around the world. My name is Alister Lockhart, and with me is Gavalanche. How's it going?
I'm the Batman.
You're not the Batman.
I am the Batman.
Okay.
I'm the Gav Man.
Yeah. And we're going to continue with a news hope. I'm afraid we are, because we didn't finish. We've got a news item about Grace of Monaco here. A movie that's impressing no one. It's the biopic of the famous actress turned royalty. It opened Cannes Film Festival to what could charitably referred to as unfavourable reviews, but more accurately described as a free-for-all public beating, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Much like the recent lambasting received by Diana, the other dead royal style icon, who was honoured with a quiet, odourless fart in service of a story, the film purports to follow the last years of the life of Princess Grace of Monaco, formerly Hollywood actress Grace Kelly, for those not familiar. After embarking on an acting career in 1950, at the age of 20, Grace Kelly appeared in theatrical productions and live TV broadcasts. And then in 1953, with the release of Mogambo, she became a movie star, earning both Golden Globe and Oscar noms, as well as lead roles in 5 films, including The Country Girl, in which she gave a deglamorized Academy Award-winning performance. She retired from acting at the age of 26 to marry Prince Rainier of Monaco, or Monaco. It's Monaco, isn't it?
Yeah.
Monaco is what we say in Australia when we refer to the ice cream sandwich
Monaro.
bar.
I thought it was Prince from Monaro.
No, yeah, Prince Rainier from Monaro, mate.
Monaro, it's
Yeah.
burnout. He's the burnout king.
That's right, it lives in
There you
Brighton
go.
Hill, mate. So, she married Prince Rainier of Monaco at the age of 26 and entered upon her duties in that country. I blame her temperament, really. Perhaps if she'd had a sunnier disposition, it wouldn't have been Rainier. What?
And we just had pizza too. Come
Sorry.
on.
What, you didn't know this was going to happen?
If I had, I wouldn't have been here.
You've done worse than that.
Oh man.
Oh, soaking it,
Stick
bitch.
to television.
She died in September of 1982 after suffering a stroke while driving, succumbing to her injuries the next day. I don't see the problem. On long journeys alone, I often have a stroke at the wheel. It's never caused a crash yet.
Ain't that silence there?
All right.
They've,
Even the crickets have gone.
they've left. We're out of here.
With a Rotten Tomatoes score of just 9%, reviews of the film have been scathing, with the film being called not just bad, but awful, ineptly directed, terribly written, and bafflingly acted, agonizingly airless and contrived, a hilariously ham-handed attempt to dig beneath the Kelly mystique, and also rarely incompetent, unintentionally hilarious, and borderline reprehensible in both its politics and its take on gender roles. But none more so than the playlist's Oliver Littleton, who attended the premiere event, and writes. Was Oliver there when you were there?
Yeah, I saw Ollie.
Yeah. He's a bad-tempered bastard. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to say that on air.
Nothing a backhand won't fix, mate.
Yeah, go to hell, Ollie. Already condemned by the Monaco royal family, the film opens by explaining that the film is a, quote, fictional account inspired by real events, but might have been more honestly described as a fictional account inspired by the Oscar-winning The King's Speech, i.e., Grace must embrace her royal role to save the day. That's standing up for Monaco's right to be a tax haven for the elite and the super-rich, rather than preparing the nation for war against Hitler. That didn't seem to have struck anyone involved in the production as a problem.
It's a shame, really, because in real life she was a very interesting character.
So I believe.
She was extreme Christian, though. She was very hardcore Christian in her views.
But yeah, Diana was a very interesting character as well. But look at the movies they
I
got.
know, it's a shame.
I don't know what the hell they're trying to
They should have
do.
just done a cartoon or something, or stick figures. One of those Bali shadow puppets things. That would have been good.
Now you're talking. Don't say it on there, dude.
Oops.
Somebody else will steal the idea and
call.
we'll, look at that. They got the Oscar and we had the idea.
Prank call.
Anyway, occasionally, Oliver continues, with something like The Happening or The Room, you start convincing yourselves that they're just in on the joke and have stealthily made a full-on comedy. So being compared to The Room, you can come back from that, but when your film gets likened to a Shyamalan film, it's time to consider a new career, I would say. Like in radio, maybe.
Yes. Or shadow.
Or shadow puppetry. Shadow puppetry, that's where the real losers go.
That's the money.
A big shout out to all those people working in shadow puppetry right now, all 4 of you. Sources close to Nicole say that they are unaware of the star's reaction to the film's reception, as it is impossible to glean any semblance of human expression from her Botox-immobilized, glassy-eyed, wax sculpture horror show of a face.
Apparently, her forehead's as big as a flat-screen TV.
It really is,
You
yeah.
can project movies like
You can project that stuff.
3D CinemaScope.
I believe the movie actually opened on her forehead.
Stanley Kubrick wanted to do, even though it was sort of a time travel, he wanted to release 2001 on her forehead.
Yeah.
With that big screen thing.
Yeah. They
Even though she wasn't really...
stuck the camera on it and you hear the line, "That's no moon, it's a space station." Anyway,
what are we doing?
in other news, tangentially connected to the world of movies, the Tony Awards. The stars have hit the red carpet for the 2014 Tony Awards, and chief among them was our own Hugh Jackman.
Oh, he's so dreamy.
He certainly is. The Les Miserables star arrived sporting a black suit with bow tie and beard, wife Deborah Lee Furness. Looking resplendent in a sleek black gown, Jackman was the evening's host of Broadway's 68th annual Night of Nights. Oh, sorry, I think I've read that wrong. Hold on. I'll go back. The Les Miserables star arrived sporting a black suit with bow tie and beard. Wife Deborah Lee Furness, looking resplendent in a sleek black gown.
I think so, yes.
Jackman was the evening's host of Broadway's 68th annual Night of Nights, live from Radio City Music Hall, New York. Wow, punctuation is really important.
I was going to pull you up on that. But
there was a full stop and a comma in the wrong place. I am so sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, Aussie tough guy Jackman is no stranger to musical theatre, having been a Broadway mainstay ever since his award-winning turns in the musicals Oklahoma and The Boy from Oz, the story of world-famous song and dance man Peter Allen.
Jazz hands.
Jackman took the reins at the awards ceremony, coming out to recognise achievement in Broadway theatre for the fourth time. The Aussie actor previously hosted in 2003, 2004 and 2005, and will follow TV star Neil Patrick Harris, who has hosted for the past 3 years. What connection Harris has with the world of musical theatre is unclear.
Yeah, I thought he was in logging or something, you know. Actually, lumberjack, I guess. Hang on, now it ties in.
Yeah.
All right.
Jackman shared a photo of himself and his beard and also his wife with fans on Instagram, along with the caption, and this is true, it said, "Amazing wife, awesome night, hashtag Tony Awards."
Yes.
So thanks for pointing out that you were there with your wife, Hugh. Well done, man.
He was pretty good, actually. He did a good job. He's a triple threat.
Yes.
I am a quadruple threat, mind you, so that's why old Huey and I don't get on that well.
Yeah.
So,
well, fair enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of innuendo and rumour, Bryan Singer, the man behind the X-Men films, may be pulled from directing the next installment of the franchise because of the sex abuse allegations and lawsuit against him. RadarOnline.com is reporting that the 20th Century Fox is still unsure on whether he should still direct a sequel to X-Men Days of Future Past. Bryan's lawyers are going nuts because the deal was closed months ago, said a source to Radar Online. They really don't care about whether he's innocent or guilty. They're only concerned with the bottom line, which is giving him another US 250 to US 350 million to make X-Men Apocalypse.
But he's interested in the bottom line too.
So I believe.
Yes.
The one that goes the other way. Gee, who would have thought that Hollywood producers would choose money over people? It's that kind of stunning left-turn irony that makes me wonder if it's time to start scratching my arse when it itches. It really is.
You just sort of wiggle in your seat.
That's true.
Easier, yeah.
That's a really good. You're just going to stretch it.
Just sort of. It's like the public way. If you're on a bus or something, you don't want to sort of reach down and give it a good old scratch thing there. You just sort of just jiggle it. Just
a little bit. That's
a groove.
I can smell it from here, man. That's a very pungent.
You can smell it.
That's a very pungent illusion.
Oh, yeah.
So before the rest of the listeners turn off,
turn on, you mean?
Even if Bryan doesn't direct the film, he's still going to get a major payout because the deal was made months ago.
Yeah.
So, as has been previously reported, 31-year-old Michael Egan filed a lawsuit against Singer in April, claiming the director and other men had forced themselves on him using the coercion of alcohol and cocaine when he was between the ages of 15 and 17. I can't see how Singer's going to get out of these charges, really. It's so well known how teenagers will do anything to avoid having sex and taking drugs with celebrities. Coercion is really the only explanation for what happened. How is this suit not done with? It's weird.
Exactly.
In other news, Jupiter Ascending. The upcoming sci-fi thriller from Lana and Andy Wachowski has been pushed back from its July 18th release date to February 6, 2015. Well, quite right. I mean, if you were looking forward to seeing it. Channing Tatum stars as... I didn't know this. I saw the ears. You saw the trailer? He's got the ears? He's got pointy ears.
Yes.
So apparently he's a half wolf, half albino warrior.
Mm-hmm.
So what? So is that a half albino what? Albino wolf?
He's a albino.
That would make him a grey wolf.
No, albino.
A albino.
Or an elf. An elf?
It's not working. Who tries to save Mila Kunis's character a house cleaner with perfect genetics who threatens the queen of the universe, which is what happens to all intelligent, super hot women with perfect genetics. They end up broken alone and in a dead-end job with absolutely no friends at all. She must have a heck of a personality. Naturally, the Queen tries to have Kunis killed because something's got to get the plot moving. Warner Brothers has already released trailers that preview the fire-powered action and futuristic costumes, which, despite the hundreds of thousands of man-hours that have been obviously put in, managed to be both underwhelming and exhausting at the same time. The movie had a reported budget of $150 million, but needed some extra time to work on the more than 2,000 special effects shots in the film. Variety reports Warner Brothers domestic distribution chief Dan Fellman has told Movie Groove, a lot of the issue for us was getting it ready for the international release. Also, we failed to factor in special effects artists needing to take breaks at least once a day to, sleep.
Yes. Get back to work.
The Wachowskis are the brains behind the Matrix trilogy, which grossed more than $1.6 billion, despite the sequels being harder to stomach than a plate of burnt goat liver and semen Jew. They also gave us the unfortunate V for Vendetta, the intolerable Speed Racer, and more recently Cloud Atlas, a shaggy dog story which shifts from brainless slapstick comedy to gruesome pitiless tragedy, and back within minutes. For 3 grueling hours. Watching the film is sort of like watching a live stand-up comedian who stops every 10 minutes or so to kick the shit out of you. And that's all we have time for with the news, hope, and remember.
This Jupiter one, though, this Jupiter Rising.
Yeah.
I saw the shorts for it when I was over in LA, of course.
Yeah.
And I think it's a leave your brain at the door.
Well, yeah.
Come toasted, leave your brain at the door.
I know. Wow, look, things are moving. Flashy lights. That spaceship exploded. It'll be great, kids. Go see it.
And even better was that the prince, bring her to me.
Yes. Bring her to me.
I want her. This is my acting choice. I shall speak like this.
Yeah, choose again, dude.
Bring her
Seriously.
I mean, he could have been like, bring her to me.
I know you do. How did you get away with that?
Hey, bring her to
It's not like it's Johnny Depp, because Johnny Depp actually got into a lot of trouble over Captain Jack Sparrow initially. When they saw what he was doing, they said, "What are you doing?" And he says, "Well, I'm doing Keith Richards, really."
Yeah, essentially. Well, he
was. I'm doing Keith Richards. I'm a bit pissed.
Yeah.
What year is it? And they were generally going like, "That sucks. Choose again. This doesn't work." And he went, "Well, this is what I'm doing. Like it or leave it."
Pretty much.
And it ended up making. Well, he's made $300 million. He alone has made $300 million out of being in those films.
That's right.
Even he's embarrassed about the amount of money
he still owes me
$20
too, that bastard.
Yeah,
We're doing Fear and Loathing.
Tight-fisted weirdo.
We were at the bar one night. He's like, I got no money.
I know.
All right,
I see that. You see, he says that. I've got no money. Come on.
Yeah. He had to roll his cigarettes for him. He was just.
He just doesn't like having change in his pocket because it ruins the lining of his suit.
No, but the Jupiter Rising, smash them up, special effects, blah blah blah, love it in that sense. But everything else,
no. Well, that's it for a news, hope, and remember, when it comes to movie news, this source will be with you always.
Now, was that Eliza Doolittle from My Fair Lady?
I really don't know. It's somebody called Eliza Doolittle.
I think it was.
So the kids might not be familiar with the old movie. They probably watch the movie and go like, "Oh my God, they stole the name from Eliza Doolittle. OMG,
right.
Get your own name."
It's like how Jeff Buckley stole Hallelujah from Leonard Cohen.
Yeah, and Queen actually stole the idea for the song Radio Gaga from Lady Gaga.
That's right.
No originality.
She should sue Freddie Mercury.
Yeah. Well, he's dead.
Dig him
sue
up.
the estate.
Not dig him up.
Dig him up.
Bring out his bones. Dig him up.
We miss you, Freddie Mercury. My kids are really into Freddie Mercury for some reason. They're always like, when did Freddie Mercury... This is true.
Yeah.
My kids are really into Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
My kids love the music, and they're always asking about Freddie and how long has it been since he died, and was he nice, and all this kind of stuff.
It was great. Everyone loved Freddie.
Yeah.
Everybody loved Freddie.
Really love. He used to have these massive 3-day parties where all his mates would come around and do coke and just bone each other senseless for days and days and days. It sounds like a fun time to me.
Well, he was a wild man, but he was also a generous man and had a good heart and had a lot of good common sense about political things when he got asked about them. But essentially just wanted to get on with writing some fantastic, worldwide, excellent hits that have lasted generations and shall evermore rock.
And he was taken from us too early by AIDS, because he and Kenny Everett got AIDS from the same man.
Wow.
Yeah.
The same night?
Not the same night, I don't believe, but they both, because it was a bit of a free-for-all, a bit of a free love thing, and in the 70s they didn't know. We didn't know about the AIDS virus. It was a new thing.
Yeah. Kenny Everett was brilliant too.
He was a brilliant comedian. And
Tinsel Man. Do you remember Tinsel Man? Up in the sky, it's
Tinsel
Tinsel
Man. And his other character, Cupid Stunt.
Cupid Stunt.
All done in the best
In
best
the
possible
purple.
time.
That's right.
So yeah, a comedy genius and a musical genius, both killed by the same guy just because they liked to bone. That's a real shame. Anyway,
So remember, kids.
we're getting a little bit morbid here. We're going to move on right now because this is the part of the movie show where we got this segment. We like to have a look at what's opening in theatres in Australia and all around the world. This, listeners, is the bit that we refer to as opening scene. I've got to change that. It's terrible. If you like it, why don't you hit us up on the Facebook page and tell us we really like the musical sting at the beginning of opening scene.
Or just hit us in the face.
I know you won't. Nobody ever hits us up on the Facebook page because you all hate me.
They love me, though.
That's true.
So we only get half hits.
So after the massive surprise generated by 2012's 21 Jump Street,
Yuck, yuck.
by not being worse than finding out the only existing cure for your cancer must be licked directly from the small of Gina Reinhardt's back, the film followed that bombshell up with being a bona fide hit. Unsurprisingly, however, is the inevitable sequel, and Channing Tatum, fast becoming the hardest working man in Hollywood, is back with partner Jonah Hill for more wacky, crazy blah blah blah. After making their way through high school, twice, big changes are in store for Officer Schmidt and Janko when they go deep undercover at a local college. But when stuff happens, they begin to question their partnership. But now they don't just have to crack the case, they have to figure out if they can have a mature relationship. It's an odd couple bromance, the conclusion to which is as inevitable as Christian hypocrisy. But it ought to be worth a look, although if you're looking for a date movie, we've got something a little better. How to Train Your Dragon 2. Do you know How to Train Your Dragon 2, Gav?
Oh, yeah. Trains many dragons.
Do it every day, kids. It keeps away the prostate cancer.
That's right.
Based on the movie of the children's book is this sequel, which already promises to be a sequel. Only better, we promise. The original was a hit, and this follow-up is already tracking to do the same, if not better numbers. So much so that the next sequel is already in the works, in a move described by DreamWorks executives as "money, bitches."
That's right, bitch.
The online synopsis for the movie reads thusly. Set in the mythical world of burly Vikings and wild dragons.
Voice. Set in a mystical world.
Set in a mythical world of burly Vikings and wild dragons. Where apparently when you're a child you have an American accent, and then when you grow into an adult it changes into a Scottish accent.
That's right. Craig Ferguson and all.
The action comedy tells a story of Hiccup, a Viking teenager who doesn't exactly fit in with his tribe's long-standing tradition of heroic dragon slayers. Hiccup's world is turned upside down when he encounters a dragon that challenges he and his fellow Vikings to see the world from an entirely different point of view. Now, I was confused by this because that is precisely the plot of the first movie. So I thought I must have read the wrong synopsis. No, this is a synopsis of the second one as well. So either the synopsis writer couldn't be bothered to come up with something new, or the script writer couldn't be bothered to come up with something new.
I think a little from column A.
And a little from column B. I'm right with you there, homie.
And a little from column Alister.
Oh, my gracious. That was a joke. In this installment, our hero has grown to adolescence, so the dead mother plot point from the first movie has been retconned as the sequel's relationship arc, and also dragons. Lots of dragons. Due in no small part to the work of DreamWorks, children's films have in recent years grown in maturity and depth, so much so that as a parent, it's possible to sit through one without having a brain hemorrhage or gnawing off a limb. So that's nice.
It's supposed to be quite funny.
I know. I really did like the first movie, actually.
Yeah.
It has some slow spots. I don't like the guy's voice. I can't remember his name's not Josh Duhamel. Who am I thinking of? He was in Tropic Thunder. He's got a voice like this. It's really kind of annoying.
That guy.
That guy with that annoying voice. So that's the only bit that I really don't like. It's an irritating voice, but it's got Scotsman in it, so that's quality.
Right.
The Signal. Premiering to middling reviews at Sundance this year, The Signal is an indie sci-fi thriller starring Lawrence Fishburne. Happy birthday, Mr. Lawrence. Oh no, it's Merry Christmas. And others. Directed by some guy, the movie follows 3 college students on a road trip across the Southwest to experience a detour. They find themselves in an isolated area and everything goes dark, and when one of the students, Nick, regains consciousness, he's trapped in a waking nightmare. It's another film where some kid gets superpowers from whatever. You know, remember the other week where it was he slept with some chick and got superpowers?
That was you, buddy.
Oh, right, that's right.
Yeah.
So, watch out, I'll spray you with my heat vision. Yeah, see, asking for it. It's been described as stylish but somewhat shallow. It's in limited release in 100 theatres in the States. Why not check it out? Because there's no big robots going smashy smashy, that's why. Anyway, that's everything on the screen and on the scene for this week. So until next week, know this: it's always darkest before the opening scene. Welcome back to Movie Groove. It's what's on screen. You're on Energy Groove Radio. We're transmitting live from the city of Sydney and all around the world. My name is Alister Lockhart, and right now in the studio we've got Mr. Darren Koziol.
Hey, how you going?
I'm alright, man. How are you?
Pretty good.
Darren is in town for Sydney Supernova, the massive comic convention. Well, it's called a pop culture expo nowadays. It's not just about comics.
There's all sorts there, yeah.
So that's coming up this weekend at... what's the site?
Olympic Park.
Olympic Park, of course, in Sydney. Where else are they going to have it? They don't do it at the showground anymore for some reason. I guess if you've got Olympic Park, then that's going to be the thing. And so there's going to be a ton of stuff on there, not least DECAY, the fantastic all-Australian anthology mag created by my friend here.
Cheers. Yeah, it's great. Great comic.
Yeah. So you always talk it up, dude. Always talk it up. No, it is a fantastic comic. I have contributed to the comic myself.
Oh, some amazing work. I always thought of you as an artist, but you're a brilliant writer as well.
I wouldn't say brilliant, but I'm starting to not suck at it, is my opinion. So, yeah, no, I've been an illustrator for a long time, so I started to write a little, which, after being an illustrator for so long, it's a little bit more fun.
Yeah, for sure. It's your imagination go wild.
Yeah. So, can you explain to us what DECAY is? Because I know what it is. You're explaining this to the listeners.
For sure.
So what is DECAY essentially? Where did it start? What is it supposed to be?
It's very similar to the old Warren comics of the 70s, like creepy and eerie.
Yeah.
So it's a collection of short stories, and in this case it's a horror comic, so they're all horror stories. All sorts of horror. Yeah, A to Z, aliens, zombies, and everything in between.
This is R-rated horror, right?
Mature readers, M-rated, so 15 plus.
Yeah, so not recommended for the kids.
Definitely not a kids' comic.
But I mean, like, I was really into that stuff when I was a kid anyway. Whenever we got a writing assignment in school, the teacher would always look straight at me and say, "And I don't want another horror story, Mr. Lockhart." And then, he would inevitably get another horror story. I didn't care.
There are so many horror fans out there. It's just amazing. And people just,
sickos, basically.
A lot of them.
It's not quite Verotica standard. Remember
not
that?
That bad.
No, God. Glenn Danzig. Why aren't you dead yet? Abysmal human being. Yeah, no, the music okay, but apparently he's not a very affable bloke.
Yeah, his comics are only coming in about once a year now, once or twice a year. He's still going, but yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, DECAY is better than Danzig's noise.
Definitely.
And so how did this all start? What made you want to start a comic in the first place?
Yeah, I've been collecting comics for years, loved them, always had an idea of doing one, and basically back in 2009 I sort of had a bit of time between jobs and thought I'll start doing that comic I've always wanted to make. And took over a year to get the first issue out, and the first issue came out in March 2010. 4 years ago.
And that was working with Adelaide artist Dave Heinrich at the time.
Dave was I knew Dave Heinrich from the Chrysler Club. We're both in the Chrysler Club, both big Valiant fans. And he'd been working in comics himself for a long time. So I was talking to him at the club one night and said I wanted to make a comic. Would he be interested in pitching in to help me a bit? And he did, and it was incredible to have his help and expertise and guidance. And yeah, and
when you say the club, which club was that?
The Chrysler Car Club of South Australia.
Oh yes, and if you see DECAY, there's a lovely yellow VJ hardtop on many of those covers, which you actually own yourself.
That's my car.
The infamous zombie hunter
with a Nemesis the Cthulhu number plate.
The Cthulhu number plate. That's amazing. I wish I'd thought of that first.
I got Nemesis on my CJ sedan. Chrysler by Chrysler.
I see. You got in early. You thought of it first. That's not the only car that appears. It does guest spots in the comic.
Yeah, and I've got I love. If you ever go on my website, the Dark Oz website, www.darkoz.com.au. There's actually a page there which has all my cars on it as well.
Yeah.
So some of those cars have featured in the comics, in a few of the stories, and a couple of the covers. The XH Ford Ute with a bull bar, plowing through a pack of zombies. Awesome.
Always fun. And so, yeah, about the zombies, where did... Because the comic, it is an anthology comic, but it has a through story, not unlike 2000 AD where they have through stories and then some of the stories they just sort of like piecemeal.
It started that way, but it didn't continue. It was too hard to get a...
Which story? So I'm talking about...
Oz Zombie.
Oz Zombie, yeah.
So basically it's a zombie story, but it's set in Australia. So being an Australian comic, we try to put a lot of Aussie icons and themes and running through it. Not always, but...
yeah.
So we decided I decided to do some zombie stories set around Adelaide where I live with the survivors in a post-apocalyptic world driving the VJ hardtop.
If any place on the earth is ripe for a zombie apocalypse, it's Adelaide, I would suggest.
Definitely. Great fun. So we tried getting that running as a sequel, as a series running through the comics, but it was hard to get an artist to stay with it. So in the end, the comic has become all short one-off stories, which means you can buy any one issue without needing to go out and buy the whole series.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all standalone stories.
Well, that's really the problem with getting something like this out, because I'm an illustrator. Illustrating comics is literally the hardest work and the worst paying that you can get as an illustrator. There are lots of people who come up thinking, I would love to be a comic artist, and then they do it for a little while and go, this just ain't as much fun as I thought it was.
It is tough. I mean, I write the stories. I'm not the only writer. There's a few other writers. I don't do the artwork, but I'm also the editor, the publisher, the distributor, and it's such hard work. It's a labour of love. We just do it because we love it and got so many stories we want to tell, and it's a lot of fun. And you get to work with some amazing creators out there. It's just great fun.
It is a massive amount of work. Do you... a lot of the artists must sort of balk at this, you're not going to get paid for this kind of thing. Has that been a problem, getting people to stay on with you?
Absolutely, and that's also why it became all short one-off stories rather than any that continued. And it's also another reason why a lot of stories are so short. Even some of the stories are only 2 pages long. Yeah. But in a 52-page comic, you get a huge variety of stories and artists. The longest story would be 10 or 12 pages. Yeah,
that's a lot of work.
It is. So
and I do know for a fact that a lot of these artists have partners, and the partners will be whispering in their ear about how this guy's making all the money and you're doing all the work. Trust me on this, people. Nobody's making money on this.
I promise you, I've lost money on every issue. It's just doing it for the love of it, like I said.
Yeah. And so, well, I mean, there is the possibility of getting a return on your investment if, perchance, at some stage the property gets optioned.
That's right, and that's always a dream. We've had one story picked up by Heavy Metal at the moment, so...
That's a real triumph.
That was just amazing to get an email saying that Kevin Eastman likes your story and wants it in Heavy Metal.
Kevin Eastman, for the listeners, is...
the creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
He certainly is. He published that himself way back in the late 70s, which means that he owns 100% of the rights to that property, so he's as rich as Croesus. Good friend to have, I would suggest.
Yeah, he made millions of dollars and bought Heavy Metal,
And Heavy Metal is the anthology comic that essentially inspired DECAY as a format.
Exactly. So DECAY, like I said, it's based a bit on Creepy Era, but also on Heavy Metal in 2000 AD. Yeah, all those anthology type comics. Heavy Metal was a huge influence. Yeah. And so it's actually had one of my stories in there.
So when you got your own story published in the latest edition of Heavy Metal.
The very latest issue out on the stands right now.
That would have been something.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah. That's a massive dream of mine. Because I think, people of our generation grew up reading those mags. Heavy Metal's not really, I wouldn't say alternative magazine, but it's a European comic anthology, and there's always lots of really over-the-top stuff that you just simply didn't see in Western comics, because, of course, all the comics that we got, mostly on the newsstands,
superheroes,
had to adhere to the comics code.
Yeah.
So they basically just PG-rated stuff, very sort of bog-standard comic stuff, whereas in Europe they had no such qualms about the more extreme end of the sex and the violence, and so
that's right.
Some of it got a little bit, more than just a little bit racy. It was actually quite embarrassing to... I went to the University of Newcastle and they had a massive collection of these things, and it was quite embarrassing to read some of the issues in the library because people were looking over their shoulder and going like, is that porn? Yeah. No, it's sort of. It's difficult to explain.
Yeah. Even my comic DECAY has gone that way a little bit. We've tried to keep it to an M rating, so I've kept it below the R, so there is nudity in there. There's a lot of swearing, a lot of violence, a lot of gore and mutilations, and
It's
all
not
the
for the
good horror
kids.
stuff. Yeah, but not quite to that R-rated or definitely not X-rated level. But there is
That's not the case for retro sci-fi, though, is it?
retro sci-fi is the my new project. That's PG rated. First issue is only just released a couple months ago. You'll be able to buy it this weekend at the Dark Oz table at Supernova. The first issue, 52 pages. It has 7 short stories. Now, this is for fans of the old retro sci-fi, Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers, Dan Dare.
2000 AD.
Yeah, and the old... what really inspired me for that was like H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, Jules Verne, and also those amazing story magazines that came out in the 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
I just love the covers on those. You look at them covers and your mind just goes wild imagining the story behind it.
Yeah, you see that sort of stuff, and it's and these were all done before the Hays Code and the Comics Code really kicked in and made everything kind of toothless and generic.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Well, the retro sci-fi tales has been extremely popular so far. Like I said, it's only been out for 2 months, but the sales of that have exceeded the horror comic DECAY.
And the family-friendly angle certainly wouldn't have hurt its chances.
Well, that's right. It's full colour as well, so it's a couple dollars dearer than DECAY, which is about 50% black and white.
Yeah.
So this is full colour, $10 an issue, 7 stories plus 9 pin-ups.
Yeah.
Yes, by some amazing artists.
I've already got a copy of the book, dude. I've seen it. It's gone down on the blood and the gore and the nudity, but it's definitely gone up on the quality. There's some fantastic work there.
Thanks a lot for that.
Some of the best creators in Australia.
That's right.
You've got Franz Cantor on board doing work for you, Michael Dukowitz.
Yeah, Michael. It took me 4 years to get a cover out of Michael, but it was worth it.
Yeah.
That front cover he's done is just amazing.
You'll see it when you go into which local outlets is it available in?
In Sydney at King's Comics.
Yeah.
You can get it in local comic book shops all around Australia. If you look on the Dark Oz website, it lists all of the shops. And if your shop doesn't have it, tell them to get it in.
Yeah.
Or just go to the website, darkoz.com.au, and check it out there.
Fantastic. Well, I'll be buying my copy because I didn't do any work for this one, so I don't get a freebie. But thanks again for coming in, man. Tell us about your comic. It's been a great chat.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Good luck this week. I hope you make a ton of money.
I hope so.
Hopefully a Hollywood producer will come by and say, hey, you're amazing.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't that be nice? But in any case, Supernova, Sydney, this weekend. Get along, check it out. There's going to be lots of stuff going on there. Not to mention all the amazing cosplay. Kind of my favourite thing. Where were all those people when I was going to comic shows back in the 90s? It was just fat, sweaty nerds in those days.
Well, check out the DK Horror Comic Facebook page and you'll see plenty of photos.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Lots of great photos on the website. We've got that great shot of Lance Hendrickson as well.
Oh, yeah, it was awesome, mate. Yeah. It came up to my table. It was just amazing.
I was there, remember? I got a photo with him as well. So.
And we got a photo with you with, what's her name, from
Karen Allen.
Karen Allen.
Karen Allen, she was there, although she did ask that we didn't publish it. And we honoured the lady's request.
That's right.
Yeah, so she was a lovely, lovely person.
In your personal collection.
And that's one went straight in my personal collection. I said to my brother, I went, what do you think? Me and Karen Allen? He was like, you bastard. Wow, that was some 80s synth.
Oh, yeah.
Right there, that was awesome.
That was like Kraftwerk almost.
That was Giorgio Moroder there with Machines.
Machine.
From the remaster of the classic 1927 sci-fi film Metropolis, which he actually did a whole bunch of stuff which was considered controversial at the time. He took out the flashcards that they put up in those old movies to tell you what the dialogue is,
yes,
and replaced them with actual subtitles, which
It's
purists
sweet.
didn't like. Even worse, he sped the film up.
What?
It's entirely unclear what speed the film actually went at in its original release, and so he went, well, we're going to speed it up a bit because it runs too long. It really does. It's a very long movie.
Wow, that's breakthrough.
Yeah, so it got into a lot of trouble with that.
Devil's work. That devil's work, I tell you.
So it didn't make a massive amount of money, but I remember there was a lot of fuss over the fact that all the music was going to be in it, and Radio Gaga was the Queen single that came out of that movie.
Yes.
You might remember the video where they're in the flying car.
All we hear is Lady Gaga.
No, you're going to get sued.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, every week, listeners, I like to remind you that my favourite bit of the Oscars is the In Memoriam segment, but why wait until March when we can enjoy death every week in a bit that we like to call Dead for Reals?
Behind the clouds, the sun is shining. dead now, so shut up!
Yes, and this week on Dead for Reals, we're going to farewell something of a bit more personal nature to myself. Mr. Rick Mayall has died. He was an English comedian, writer, actor, and voiceover artist, and he was best known for his comedy partnership with Aid Edmondson for his energetic post-punk style of acting, and as a pioneer of alternative comedy in the early 1980s. He appeared in numerous cult classic sitcoms in the UK, including The Young Ones, Bottom, Filthy Rich, and Catflap, Blackadder, and The New Statesman, one of my favourites. And in the comedy films Drop Dead Fred and Guest House Paradiso, neither of which were particularly good, but no one wins them all. Remember how... So, I don't know if you must remember when The Young Ones first came out.
Dude, I was told off by Rick Mayall at Enmore Theatre.
Oh yeah, what'd you do?
True story. This is a true story. The Young Ones came to perform, and I yelled something out. I must have been about 16, or I must have been of age, and yelled something out. And he went, "Shut up, farty," and gave me a 2-finger salute.
Well, that sounds just like the man. It sounds exactly like something we would say.
Mum, and she was like,
Rick Mayall called me farty.
Yeah, that's right. I was like, at school the next day. I was there. I mean, at university or at the old people's home, depending on what age I really am.
Yeah, so for those not familiar, British comedy in the UK was just all this really sanitised rubbish. You know, the clean stuff is Terry and June, where they would fall over on their bum and spill the tea on themselves and then go, wah, wah.
Yeah.
Or Sid Halen was the other thing, where he would go, wah, ha, 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 look at the Bristols on that. And then, wah, wah, ooh, and it was all really rubbish. And then the Young Ones came along, and it was basically the punk antithesis to all that clean, safe garbage.
Very much so.
It was to those sitcoms as punk was to music like The Brotherhood of Man.
Yes.
Save your kisses for me. Save all your kisses
Shut up, you bastards!
That's quite correct. Edmondson and Mayall gained their reputation at the Comedy Store from 1980. Mayall's television appearances as his character Kevin Turvey warranted a mockumentary called The Man Behind the Green Door in 1982. His first big screen appearance was the previous year, appearing in a tiny bit role as young chess player in An American Werewolf in London. Remember that? When they're in a pub.
Remember I was watching that movie sort of half fingers covered over my eyes because it was spooky.
So he was in the pub, just, you know, he doesn't have a line, he's just playing chess and he smirks, but there you go. It's fun to see him nowadays. You go, hey, that's Rick Mayall, no kidding. His partnership with Edmondson continued. They produced the comic strip Presents, debuting in 1982. The series saw Mayall play a wide variety of roles and was known for parodies such as Bad News on Tour, a mock rockumentary starring Myle Richardson, Edmondson and Nigel Planner as a heavy metal band called Bad News, a band which actually produced a creditable and hilarious album called Bad News, and a second one called More Bad News. Then the BBC took an interest in The Young Ones. It was a sitcom that Mayall wrote with his girlfriend Lise Mayer. Elton joined the writers and the series was commissioned. He played Rick, a pompous sociology student, maintaining his double act with Edmondson as a sociopathic punk called Vivian. This series was a massive success, and a second was screened in 1984. The show owed a comic debt to Spike Milligan, much to Milligan's disapproval. Rick Mayall is putrid, absolutely vile, wrote Milligan. He thinks nose-picking is funny and farting and all that. He is the arsehole of British comedy.
Oh.
Despite this, Mayall was a household name, and in the UK and Australia of 1984, the Young Ones were everywhere, spawning books, comics, stage shows, board games, tiresome knockoffs, and a string of recorded singles. Cliff Richard re-recorded his 1959 hit Living Doll with the cast of the show, which went on to become the only single in history to reach the #1 chart position in the UK twice, 25 years apart.
Wow.
Yeah.
Got myself a
Crying, talking, sleeping, walking, living,
living doll.
That's the one. Look it up on YouTube. It's quite funny. His big screen debut was in Drop Dead Fred, in which he played the raucous... Raucous? Is it raucous or raucous? I can never... Raucous. Sorry. Imaginary friend of a hapless Phoebe Cates, and was also cast as the poltergeist Peeves in the Harry Potter series, but that character was cut from the first film. Yeah, I know. On the 9th of April 1988, Mayall was injured after crashing a quad bike near his home in Devon. He was airlifted to Plymouth Derriford Hospital with 2 hematomas and a fractured skull, where he was kept in an induced coma for 96 hours. That's 5 days for you at home. Despite his doctor's warning that he could die or have brain damage, after waking, he made an astonishing recovery and soon returned to work. Unlike his performances, the real Rick Mayall was known to his friends as quietly intelligent and a true gentleman. Mayall is quoted as saying, I'm a difficult person to interview. Everything I have to say is in my performance. I don't like to give too much away. Mail leaves his wife Barbara and 3 children, Rosie, Sydney and Bonnie. He was chatting happily and in perfect health just half an hour before he died, according to his longtime collaborator and friend Peter Richardson in an interview with BBC4 yesterday. At the time of writing, the cause of death is believed to be some sort of seizure, but police have ruled out foul play. Of his friend and longtime stage partner Ed Edmondson has said, "There were times when Rick and I were writing together, we almost died laughing. They were some of the most carefree, stupid days I ever had, and I feel privileged to have shared them with him. And now he's died for real, without me. Selfish bastard." And here's a clip of mail from his most celebrated work as Rick in The Young Ones.
Right, that's it. I'm going to kill myself. Then you'll be sorry.
No, we won't.
I feel sorry for you, you zeros. What? You know but this. What's going to live on after you die? I'll tell you. Nothing. That's what.
Can you, actually kill yourself with laxative pills?
I don't know, Neil, but I'm going to stay and find out.
I think I'm going up to my room for a bit.
This house will become a shrine. And punks and skins and rastas will all gather round and hold their hands in sorrow for their fallen leader. And all the grown-ups will say, "But why are the kids crying?" And the kids will say, "Haven't you heard? Rick is dead. The people's poet is dead." And then one particularly sensitive and articulate teenager will say, "Other kids, do you understand nothing? How can Rick be dead when we still have his poems?" And another kid will say,
Yes, the people's poet is dead. Rick Mill was 56 years old, and we miss him already. This is Donna Summer.
Rest in peace, Rick.
Welcome back to Movie Groove. It's what's on screen. You're on Energy Groove Radio. We're
Are you
transmitting
feeling-
live from
Are you
Sydney.
feeling my love now, Al? Can you?
Ouch.
Can you feel my
Get
love?
away from me with that.
Can you feel it?
Don't.
Can
Ew.
you feel it?
Ew, it smells.
Can you feel it? Dun, 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 dun.
If you've just tuned in, it's the end of the show, thankfully enough.
Do you want me to sing it out?
We promised you a review of The Edge of Tomorrow. Now, we both been to see this movie. What were your
Yes.
first impressions of the show?
Well, I don't do impressions, but if I did, I'd go, "Wow, where's my shine now, see? Wow."
Oh, dear.
But secondly, I'd go, I actually enjoyed it. Even though Tom ranted on about his methodology or whatever the hell he was talking about.
Not in
the
the film, obviously.
No. The film itself was very good. I enjoyed the special effects. I kind of do like Tom Cruise as an actor. He's done some good stuff.
Yeah.
He's proven his cred over the years. And I loved the script and the storyline. It was like, yes, there was not one, no boring bits.
It was a little piece of genius, I think. I like
Yes.
the conceit of the he had to sort of fight the same day over and over again. So because usually in an action movie it gets ridiculous, the kind of things that the action hero survives.
Yeah.
And so in this sense, even though in this context, even though it doesn't make sense that he starts the day over and over again, it does make sense we can actually fight to the entire end of the day through all of that really heavy fire and still come out unscathed, is because he's played the scenario so many times
That's
over.
right.
So it was
it was Groundhog Day meets
Yeah.
Star. Oh, what's that?
Starship Troopers.
Thank you.
Yeah, but and I thought it was interesting as well because in every movie that Tom's ever been in, he's always the best of the best. That's the character he always plays. It doesn't matter, he's either a fighter pilot or a bartender who's the best of the best. Even when he was in War of the Worlds, he's a lonely dock worker, and he's sort of a loser. But at the beginning of the show, they make a point of him saying he's leaving work, and he says, "You got to come in tomorrow. No one stacks pallets like you do.
That's right. He's Stacky McPallet.
You're the best of the best."
But I liked how every day that he woke up, because every time he died, he'd be reawakened.
Yeah.
He'd come in with sort of a different approach to the day. So the first day, he was like, "What the hell? What am I doing here?" Second day, it was a bit more feared, and then like on 15th day, it's like, "Yeah, how you doing? I know you, and I bonked her, and bada
Yeah,
bing," and,
that's what I really thought was a great touch about Doug Lyman is it could have got really repetitive, but what they do is that they show you him faring better, having been through the experience before, through Rita Vertaski's eyes, because he hooks up with this female who had the power, the same power that he has, to
Yes.
reset the day. And now she's lost it, and so she recognizes that he's now got the power and they have a chance of saving the human race. And you get to see her seeing him being super capable because of the repetition.
yes.
Whereas you only get to see what through his eyes you get to see the stuff that he has never seen before.
And I
So
like
there's a really interesting switching back and forth between the two stories, and and it's really interesting the way that he tries to build a doomed relationship with her as a priority over saving the human race, because he can't stand to see her dying over and over and over and over again. So there's enough character development there, and and chemistry between the leads, because Tom Cruise generally doesn't have any chemistry with anybody ever.
except himself.
Yeah, so it's actually, there's enough there. They managed to generate enough sympathy to make it a really interesting character dynamic. I thought it was fantastic.
And I like the different choices he makes. Like one day he chooses to save this guy, and then the next day he's like, nah, you can die.
Yes.
Do
Yeah,
something
that's-
do I turn left? All right, I turn left. Boom, he's dead. Okay, next time I turn right. Oh, I should have gone straight
Yeah.
ahead. Oh, straight ahead's fine. Now do I go left? Oh, bang.
Well, that's the thing, is
It's
that
like a labyrinth of life and time.
as I said, he does eventually become the best of the best, but only through sort of the kind of adversity that you can't fit into, literally one lifetime. But at the beginning of the story, he's a weaselly, snivelling, cowardly
PR
scumbag.
guy. It's like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah, he's an advertising executive. Who do you want to kill more? But,
Well,
and then you get to see him die over and over again.
And
It's
some
brilliant.
of the, it sounds macabre, but some of the ways he dies are actually pretty funny. It's like, what the hell did you do?
Yeah.
I shouldn't be laughing, but I'm gonna. Cause,
Yeah, you just see him like, so he's lying on his back in the dirt, and then this thing goes burning down. And I'm like, oh, what the and then he
It's
wakes
just-
up again.
Yeah, it's like, what again?
So,
And Bill Paxton's in it as well. He plays tough stuff.
he was really good in it.
He was. He was very. Even though he had to say the same lines, he delivered it in the same way. He's still very good.
I thought it was an odd performance when I saw him in the trailer, but you see the full performance, and Bill Paxton's just kind of stealing the show. It was really good. So
It was worth it. It was worth the price of admission.
two thumbs way up. It's the best science fiction that I've seen in a long time, which is probably why, as we pointed to at the top of the show, it's completely failed in the United States. Far too intelligent for the usual crow of
Shame.
basically what we really want. Because there is a Sonic the Hedgehog movie coming out.
Oh,
I kid you not. It's going to be they're going to do to Sonic the Hedgehog what movies have always done for video games, i.e., convince moviegoers that they were better off at home playing the actual video games. Probably.
It's up there with the Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah, so that's there's a chance that it'll lure herds of mooing bumtards from trailer parks everywhere with their brain-absent kids in tow to drool at the screen for 90 minutes in utter ignorance of the inevitable apocalypse of madness, plague and war that draws ever closer to destroy this miserable threnody we laughingly refer to as a civilization before we go crashing and blazing into the pitiless sun for all the good it'll do, and good riddance.